All right, welcome back to Tech Stocks and Job, episode 19. I'm glad everybody was able to make it and have a successful week. You woke up last night. You woke up today, this morning, and last night. And I hope that you are enjoying the content that we're delivering. As we like to always start it off, don't forget to check out womeninlinux.org. Also, you can find us on meetup.com. You can also find us on meetup.com. You can also find us on LinkedIn and as well as YouTube, right? And all across all social media, Women in Linux. If you're looking to donate, not just with your money, but also with your time, if you want to help others out or teach or whatnot, you can contact us at Women in Linux. You can also just want to donate some money. You can donate money as well too. Don't forget we have a shop as well for you to go to and check out the shop. Check out any type of merchandise that you want to have or that you would like delivered to you as well, even for kids. And if you hit all products over here, you'll see all the other products that we have that's out there that may be of use to you. All right. And last but not least, when it comes down to Women in Linux, if you want to connect with us, you connect with us on Slack as well, if you need to. And we'll also contact on Twitter and Facebook. So just a couple of ways to get in contact with us. You can't say you can't never find us. If you just type in Women in Linux, you should see us across everything and everywhere. And that's it for our intro. But we got a jam-packed session today. We got a special guest. We're going to bring him in now. Mr. Dennis Scandrett from SANS.org. He is going to be our special guest today. We talked about this last week, right? 500 million cybersecurity jobs. We just saw the gas pipeline being taken down. And there's more info that I found out on some of that today that I'm going to bring in. But nevertheless, Dennis, I want to thank you, one, for coming out. That's first. And then two, just give us a little bit of background about yourself, and then we're going to get into some of today's topics.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Tamika. I appreciate you inviting me. It's great to be on the show. Love what you are doing with Women in Linux. And as SANS representative, great to be on the show. In terms of my background, hey, I've been at SANS for 12 years. I didn't come from a traditional cybersecurity background. My undergraduate degree is in finance and accounting. And also from that, I worked in a corporate environment for a number of years. And then I pursued my passion for investing. So I actually invested as a portfolio manager in Chicago for about 9 years. And in that industry, I could see that companies were starting to invest in cybersecurity like F5 and Cisco or HP. And had a colleague that I worked with in accounting when I was doing corporate finance. He came over to run SANS and recruited me over. So that's how I actually ended up in the industry. Since that time, I've taken many SANS classes and lifelong learner. So I'm not a practitioner, but however, know quite a bit about security and continue to learn every day. So that's my background, and just great to be here and share whatever knowledge that I can to you all.
All right. And I thank you for that introduction. And, like we say before, you to get into tech, there's so many different ways, and you come from so many different backgrounds. Try to tell everyone that we meet, like it's always a place for you in tech. You just have to figure out what your niche is. Use whatever you have, whatever talents you have, and people that you network with to actually, build out what your roadmap could look like. Speaking of roadmaps, I actually did want to talk about this training roadmap that you all have on SANS.org, and it's going to tie into a lot of the things that we're going to discuss today.
Okay.
So, so we have going just across 1, 2, 3, your baseline skills, focus job roles, and then your crucial skills and specialized roles. And why I'm bringing this up, because I've been posed this question a lot. One question was, which 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 certification should I get that's gonna pay me the most money, right? And
Mhm.
I always tell people this. I'm like, it's not always about the certification. Oftentimes, it is about your skills that you have to go along with that certification. What company you're applying to. It's a number of factors that go into how you're how you're paid and what job you actually obtain. How that all folds out. So I'm gonna turn this over to you, Dennis. Like just to give a brief synopsis of like the core skills here that we're looking at, or yeah, baseline skills, I should say, with security essentials and hacker techniques, 401, and then the security 50504.
Okay, so great. This roadmap is a very popular tool. A lot of companies, a lot of people actually uh, go to this website to kind of see the lay of the land, so to speak, in terms of when it comes to SANS. Uh, on the left-hand side, if we're going from left to right, there's baseline skills, as Tamika pointed out. And if you look at across SANS, we have about 65 courses. And those colors actually denote kind of specialized areas. So keep that in mind. Um, when you look across those 65 courses, and we train about 60,000 people per year, the two most popular courses in terms of foundations uh, are the 504 and the Hacker Techniques 504 and the Security Essentials 401. Why are those two courses so important? Uh, if you're talking about if you're just starting out in security and you want that foundations, you want it from two perspectives. You want it from an offensive perspective and you want it from a defensive perspective. And 504 is a ethical hacking course from an offensive perspective. And the reason that is important is, hey, offense informs defense. So you want to know, going through that cyber defense kill chain, how adversaries actually attack your system. That course is designed to teach you all of those techniques and how to respond to incidents. So that's the offensive side. So those are our two most popular courses, what we call our gateway courses. 401 actually teaches you from a networking standpoint. If you're a sysadmin or network administrator, you would know coming in uh, the how data actually transfers the network, the OSI model, or the stack. And from there, we start layering on TCP, IP, and then also we start to teach the protocols when it comes to UDP, when it comes to uh, packet analysis, we traffic analysis using Wireshark. So we teach you those basic concepts and foundational skills that you need to have a good foundation for you to decide what area you want to focus on, which moves me to that second number two boxes there. The blue represents blue team. For the most part, people in security, you're going to spend the majority of your time defending. So that first box, number two, is on monitoring and detection, which taking those skills that you learned in 401 and being able to make timely detection militia activity. There's a couple of courses that highlighted under there, 503, which is basically you just looking at traffic and you're writing signatures and trying to identify malicious activity. And then we have our 511, which is basically continuous monitoring. As you know, when you're looking at monitoring, it takes about a day or two for an adversary to actually compromise your system, in some cases less, but the time to detect is roughly 100 days. So detection is very important. But that second column is focused on whether or not you want to be offense or defense. Um, Tamika, can you zoom back out?
Okay.
And the next box is taking you deeper into the offensive side, what we call penetration testing, that red box. And you get into kind of the network side of penetration testing and the web app side of penetration testing. Those are the two courses that you see under there. So remember, you're going from a baseline skills to whether or not you want to specialize on the blue team side or the pen test side. And then finally, there's the forensic side, which once a compromise occurs, is identified, you have to roll into incident response. And those courses below are designed to help you build your skills on the forensic side of things, whether it's Windows forensics or it's advanced, threat hunting that you see there, which is uh, taking tools that you could use to identify threats and then also pivot into incident response. But the main thing about forensics is you want to understand what has happened, how it's happened, and how you contain it. That's forensics. If you look at penetration testing, you're trying to determine, are there vulnerabilities in your system and how easily those vulnerabilities can be exploited. When you look at blue team, that box up above, you're trying to detect those as timely as possible.
Correct.
And then when you move over to the third column, you just get it more specialized when it comes to those particular areas. Now, one change that we're making, you see cloud security over to the right-hand side. We're actually in the process of redoing this roadmap because we know cloud is big now. So we got a lot of courses on the cloud that's going to move and shift to the left. So that third column just enables you, like, hey, Tamika, go to the blue team box for number 3. Okay, so you can see there in that particular box, that first course. Well, let me just explain. There's a number of courses there. There's the blue team fundamentals, which is basically the sister course to 401. However, this particular course is designed to prepare you to be a SOC analyst. You're in a security operations center. You're looking at glass, and you're basically looking for anomalies, and that's the monitoring and detection. So this is hands-on detection. And then also you see a course called 555, which is SIM with tactical analysis. You're using open source tools like Elastistack, Cabana, which is a visualization tool, to actually, again, detect malicious activity. All of those courses are more specialized. That SIM course 555, we talk about Splunk, we talk about Elastistack, we talk about Logarithm, all of those different vendors that are focused on SIM. And that pretty much, go ahead, Tamika.
Just say got you. And this ties into that whole situation with the pipeline being hacked, the 500 million cybersecurity jobs that we talked about, and as well as uh, something that I'm gonna bring up after this, but just the state of where we're at as when it comes down to uh, our wealth, and so forth. But I appreciate the fact that you all broke it down like this, because I did honestly, I never really clicked on it and did it like
Mhm.
this to see like the blue team path and so forth and so
Right,
on,
right.
and then also the I'm assuming this would be green team and then red team. And are you guys considering cybersecurity? I mean, cloud security like orange team, or
Yeah,
is
cloud
that a new
security.
development?
Cloud security is orange, and then if you look below cloud security, there's industrial control system (ICS). And when the Colonial Pipeline compromise happened, we actually did a webcast. One of our instructors and another industry leading cybersecurity professional did a webcast, and it's on the SANS website, talking about what happened with that Colonial Pipeline attack. So we have a curriculum focused primarily on industrial controls, where you can learn how to protect those critical infrastructure systems. And if you see there that course, ICS 410, uh, some cybersecurity professionals, when they come into SANS, instead of taking 401, they would take ICS 410 because they are more focused on critical infrastructure.
Got you. Got you. Here's a little bit hands-on training, a little bit of summarization here on PLC,
Right.
HMI, architecting DCS, finding passwords in embedded devices. And this goes right in line with what I was talking about last week. So on last week's show, I talked about RPA, robotic process automation. We got into that. I also brought up IoT devices as well too. I consistently have talked about that. And
Mhm.
what does that look like as these cities start to grow, as autonomous vehicles start to grow, even the robo taxis. There's a company that they did a test flight here inside of in St. Pete, from Tampa to St. Pete, and it's called Lilium Jet.
Mhm.
And they have their just it's just a robo taxi, but it's a flying robo taxi. You hop in and you have to think about, well, if it's a robo taxi and it's flying, well, what kind of devices are we talking about here? Who's monitoring that? Who can hack that? And then start hacking signals. And then there's also Black Sky with the satellite and AI in space, and how do you defend against that as we continue to deploy. And then our mission to Mars, and then just different drones that are out there as well too. How do we secure those things? How do we make sure that something happens to that drone, it's immediately uh like the old school blow up, get rid of
Right.
his cell, get rid of his information. But these are all the things that we talk about. So on Tech Stocks and Jobs, is just is when it comes down to tech and cybersecurity is always wrapped in, I don't like to say in the background, but people treat it like it should be in it. People treat it as if it's in the background. It's never at the forefront. So I always try to wrap around, even when I'm teaching, like, how do you secure your Linux host? How do you make sure you have a security on your containers? Where are you doing your scans at? And then that's just one little minute aspect of it. But this right here helps out. I hope people are getting good information out of this. Hope you're able to go here and explore the sites some more and understand the different resources that are available to you as well too. Another thing I wanted to bring up, we talked about the work study program. um where does he train certified, is that on here?
Is go to about.
Got you.
Uh, no, resources. I'm sorry. I think it's resources.
Got you.
Oh, resources. Is that there?
If
Oh,
not, I can look it up.
yeah, I just had it up. It,
That's okay.
let's see here.
Work study. It should come right up. Here we go, right here.
You got it?
Yep, yep. Here you go. So
Okay.
this, so you can talk a little bit more about the work study program. I'm gonna go
Okay.
on mute.
Okay. So the work study program, this is a great program. As many of you might know, SANS courses are expensive. So a typical, 5, 6 day SANS course is about $7,000. Most of our training, the majority of it, is company sponsored or employer paid training. So if you want to take a SANS course, in some cases, it's cost prohibitive for a lot of people. However, we want to make that training available for anyone that wants to take it. So we have this work study program. And what's great about the work study program is two things. You get to take the class at a discount. So that $7,000 course that you would normally pay, that course would cost you $2,500 is what it would cost you. And then also, if there's a certification, a lot of our courses, in fact, the majority of our courses have certifications. The ones that we talked about on the roadmap, 401, 504, all have certifications. If you enroll in a work study course that has a certification, you also get that certification. Typically, a certification is $849 now. So if you were going to take the course and the certification, you would be out of almost $8,000. With this particular program, it's $2,500, and you also get access to what we call our on demand, which gives you 4 months of additional access to that course. Uh, so there's two ways that you can participate. With COVID, we're not doing any in-person training. What you see there is an online moderator, number one, and number two, an in-person facilitator. Right now, we're doing only the online moderator. And you can see what's involved in that online moderator. But basically, what you're doing is you're assisting the instructor in managing the classroom. And for your services for that particular week, you're taking the class, but you're also, like I say, assisting the instructor. And that means that any classroom discussions, you're helping to facilitate those discussions. If there's a question that's posted in the chat and the instructor doesn't see it, you notify the instructor. Behind the scenes, you're working with SANS conference staff, online staff, to make sure that things are going smoothly. If there's any problems with the student or instructor, any issues, you're communicating that to the staff. And you're also responsible for making sure that breaks and are scheduled properly, and then also making sure that the evals are filled out. So that's the essence of that program. You get the chance to take that reduced training and get a certification. Tamika, there's down at the bottom, I think it says you can apply. Uh, is it at the top, maybe? Yeah. So just click on that button on the apply, and then that will give you a good idea in terms of, okay, you don't have the SANS account, but it basically you need to apply for in kind of 3 or 4 months in advance, and they're going to ask you what event is, if it's a live online event, if it's a live in-person event, what event. Is going to ask you why you want to apply, what you bring to the table, and then it's also going to ask you, hey, do you know Linux? Do you know Windows? Do you know Snort? What some Wireshark? Some of those open source tools that are used in the classes, we want to know whether or not you have some familiarity with those tools. That's kind of what involved in the application process. But $2,500, you get a free SANS certification, and a SANS certification is very, very valuable. In fact, I had a call, Tamika, last week with a search company, a recruiting firm out of DC called Diversum, and they focused on diverse IT talent. And they were looking to partner with SANS because, as you mentioned, the shortage of IT or cybersecurity talent, and the companies that they were working with, most of them, majority of them, wanted people that had SANS certifications. So they like, okay, we want to go to SANS and talk to SANS to try to help build that pipeline and get people connected with employers that looking for people with those SANS certifications. So if you're not aware of that, if you haven't applied, I encourage you to go to the website, look around and apply, because it's a very, very valuable opportunity, and it's a great opportunity to get a return on that investment.
Yep. And I thank you for that. We also had a question here that says, are there any particular qualification required to participate in the work study program? And I think that's when you mentioned the number one thing we always talk about here in Women in Linux.
Right.
And then
Yep.
and then again those different cybersecurity tools like Wireshark and so forth and so on. So uh that's just to give y'all a idea. We got another question: is can the 2,500 be broken down into a monthly plan, or is the payment required all at once?
The payment is required all at once. However, you can pay with a credit card, which means that you could pay it in installments. However you decide you want to do it, but so you can do it that way. But SAN doesn't take installment payments.
Gotcha. In terms of uh, the work study program and so forth, I know you all have like a graduate program
Yep.
for students. Let me see, where is that located on your site here? Let me go back here. Train and certify. Okay, college degrees and certificates and scholarship academies.
Yep.
All right. So which one we hit first? The scholarship
College
academies.
degrees and college degrees and certifications.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So is this like an actual school, or do y'all have partnerships with a college?
So it is a accredited college, master's program, and now undergraduate program. And we are also partnering with universities. We just recently signed an agreement with the University of South Carolina, Aiken, where a student could also get a SANS certification, which consists of 4 courses, and also a undergraduate degree from that university in computer science. So essentially, you'll have a concentration in cybersecurity and a bachelor degree from that particular university. But SANS has a graduate accredited graduate level program that's offered, and then also we have an undergraduate bachelor program that we offer.
Got you. So you got multiple ways. Like you may not. So I'm. This is. You can correct me if I'm wrong here. Instead of going to a 4-year college where learn your English, literature, blah blah blah, all the other classes, you could just do a speed track and go through SANS and get your certification, your cybersecurity certifications. Is that how it's set up, or there are other classes in these inside of this?
So yeah, that's correct. You through the undergraduate certificate program, basically anyone can apply to that particular program, and that requires that you complete 4 courses and take the certification. You walk away with a undergraduate certificate program, and then the bachelor program is in conjunction with a university, and we basically, you have to go through your core courses, and then you take your concentration through SANS to earn your undergraduate degree.
Got you. And
Mhm.
then the graduate is just like, hey, you just want to get a
A
certificate on
master.
something.
Yeah.
Yep,
Uh-huh.
yep, yep, yep. All right, so look, y'all have a lot of information here. I hope all this has helped you all out today. Like, when it comes down to what we're talking about, what we're doing, how you can see yourself, how to maneuver inside of of SANS, the different paths, the different teams. Do your research on the different teams, and do your research on the different companies. Like, and I'm gonna bring them up later on. CrowdStrike, the cybersecurity company, Know Before, Splunk themselves,
Hmm.
Elasticsearch, and the list goes on
Yeah.
on this.
Fortinet. Yep.
Yeah, the
Hmm.
list goes on just the companies that focus and specialize on cybersecurity, and then the companies that need those cybersecurity individuals, from Apple, from Amazon. I don't know a company that doesn't need cybersecurity, right? So just, when you're thinking about these jobs, think about it in a way where you can break these things down for yourselves, and where you can get hands-on experience at, where you can get focus, where you can get a network of people, right? When we're talking about cybersecurity, and what does that look like for you as a career path, or even if it's not in a as a career path, as long as you're involving cybersecurity, um, as far as knowledge and having that on your resume. Trust me, it goes a long way when it comes down to talking to recruiters. Like, hey, can you take me through how you will secure an application, especially when you're in an interview, especially when you're going out for positions that are in a leadership position and so forth. These things actually come up. So I just want you to be aware of this as you continue on your journey, and what your options are. We have another question. Is it possible to pass the exam without taking the course?
Yes, you can actually challenge the exam. The cost for that, I think, is $1,100, and you can actually challenge the exam, get the certification without taking the course. We do have people to do that.
And the next
Good,
one is,
great
what is
question.
what is the student job ratio after finishing the cert? So how many people has taken the class and successfully passed the exams?
So two questions, two comments there. So uh, most of the people, as I mentioned, that come to SANS already have a job. In terms of when they take a class, it's paid for by the employer. Uh, in terms of the number of the pass rate for a particular certification, I'm not exactly sure about that. Uh, I do know, some exams are a little tougher than other ones, but I don't know what GAC success rate is. What I can tell you is uh, those GAC exams are open book, and when you take a SANS course, you actually get an opportunity to network with other your colleagues, and they all have good techniques in terms of indexing, how to prepare for the exam, because most people have multiple certifications. So anyone that takes the course, and believe me, I'm one. I had never taken a cybersecurity course. I didn't do Security Plus. I didn't do SANS 301. I jumped right into 401, never knowing anything about security, and I passed the exam. But what that meant for me is a lot of late nights and a lot of early mornings studying and doing the labs and the hands-on labs to pass the exam. So you could do it. You have to put in invest the time and effort to do it.
Yep. And I hope you all heard that. The one thing I took out of that was the networking piece.
Mhm.
Right? Being able to talk to other people about how their study habits, and how they're studying, what content they're going over and so forth. So, be aware of these things. That's why we have this community. The community is here to network and share, right? It doesn't make any sense to come into the community and soak up all the information and never share it back. That don't help us out, right? We need to share as much as we can. Now, I'm gonna ask you a question because I know people haven't asked this question.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yep.
gonna ask the question. When you're talking about these certificates, what's the range in terms of pay that you have been seeing in terms of the jobs? Just a range.
Yeah. So from our academies, which is where we have people that come to SANS, say they're looking at reskilling, right? They come to SANS, and we'll go to that page, Tamika, and I can talk about that. But when we have people that come to SANS that go through our academies where they get 4 courses, and they are coming out and they are getting 6-figure jobs.
Okay.
And on the low end, it's 80,000, but most of them are getting, six-figure jobs.
Okay.
Now, if you don't have any experience at all, you're just looking for an entry level security position. That's a little bit lower. But for people that have some experience and that come in and get that certification, it's yeah, you can definitely get a 6-figure job.
Gotcha. Now, what site did you want me to go to? You want
Go
me?
back to where you were on resource.
Okay,
The
resources.
Go over to train and certify. Train and certify.
Training certified. Where am I
To your
looking at?
left. To your left. To your left. The first tab.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Scholarship and academies. Yes. So I'm sure a lot of you all are familiar with ICMCP. We have a partnership with. There's all our academies there. The Vet Success, Women's Academy, Workforce Academy, and Diversity Academy. I head up SANS D&I task force, and I also co-chair our HBCU committee. And what we're focused on there is providing scholarship opportunities, free SANS training for diverse candidates. In the case of ICMCP, we're in the midst. We kicked it off in January. We did a Bay Area chapter partnership with the ICMCP chapter in the Bay Area. We have 80 students that going through our foundations course, and we'll select 25 of those students to actually go through the SANS Academy program. What does that program involve? It involves, when you look at that roadmap, it's going to teach you those baseline skills. It's going to teach you what you learn in 401, those foundational skills in terms of network protocol, and then you take 504, which is going to teach you those hacker techniques. From that, you go to that second column and you're going to take a blue team course. And that's going to be GCIA, which is a 503. And then you get a chance to pick whatever you want for an elective. You can take a ICS, the industrial controls. You can take a cloud course, whatever you want to take. But all of that is 100% free. And we're doing those academies pretty much on an ongoing basis. And we are piloting an academy with the University of Virgin Islands, our first HBCU academy that we're doing. That's going to kick off June the 14th. And there it's targeted at juniors and seniors so that we can build a pipeline. As you mentioned, Tamika, in terms of, hey, how do we fill all these jobs out there that are vacant? We got to build a pipeline. One of the things that I hear when I talk to HBCU provosts or deans, they talk about the lack of talent that they have in terms of instructors. And when they get someone that's great, they get recruited away by another school that's willing to pay more. So we don't need to be playing musical chairs. Hey, we all want to maximize our income. However, moving one diverse candidate from one seat to another is not going to get the job done. We need to create more diverse candidates and more opportunities, and be able to fill those opportunities. So you can see the list of academies there. Go out and check that out as well.
Yep. And then we got some questions here. Is
Sure.
are the academies online or in person?
Right now, they're online.
Got you. And then the next one was Sasha, thanks for joining us. Said the Diversity Cyber Academy app process closed before I could apply. When will the next application process begin?
We'll have another one in the fall. Yeah, we'll have another diversity academy with IC and ICMCP sometime in the fall. We normally run two of those a year.
It says, will people be able to take more than one class at a time?
No, there's one class. You have to finish that class, pass the certification, and then go on to the next class. And we normally give someone 8 weeks to take a class.
And somebody wanted to know more about the Virginia Cyber Skills Academy.
Okay, the Virginia Cyber Skills Academy, that's a great question. So, as you know, states get funds from the government and they get grants. And
Get
so
grants.
we're working with the state of Virginia to do a cyber skill academy with the state of Virginia for based on grant money that they receive. So what's the benefit for SANS in that, hey, they get to come to SANS, spend that grant money to take SANS training, and then the state of Virginia or whoever get an opportunity, get selected for that academy, gets that free education and access to SANS training. So that's what that Virginia Cyber Skills Academy is. And we
Yep.
are always looking for, uh, opportunities for, grants that organizations have that want to uh, stand up scholarships. Like we,
Yep.
yep. So we do, Google sometimes donate would fund a WESA scholarship academy through SANS as well.
And we had D and I. We participated in a grant for reskilling and retraining here in Florida. We didn't
Okay,
win it. We didn't win it. We were on it with other people, but we want to go back and do one ourselves because I have a whole curriculum laid out. But either way, the actual grant was 25 million.
hmm,
And so when you're talking about reskilling and retraining, a lot of these companies, they get together with other people and they give people the basics, right? And
right.
these basics, they're good basics, but when we're talking about living in a city like Virginia or a state like Virginia, including Chantilly, Sterling, Alexandria,
Hmm.
40,000 is not gonna cut it.
Resting, no. You
That's
gotta
not
have,
gonna cut it. So
yeah, you
you
gotta
can't.
have a lot of coin.
Yeah, so you can't send people out here with like, hey, I got the security plus, and then the network plus, and then like, yeah, go get a job. You can get a job, but you're not gonna be able to really live how you need to, not how you want to, but how you need to in terms of the cost of driving, the tires, the train, the time that you need to skill up on the job, the time to drive to the job, food, rent, clothing. All these things come into play when we're talking about this. So I'm trying to tell y'all, how to get your get yourself together. Yep, you living in Reston Town Center. I've lived in Chantilly, Fairfax, Alexandria. I've been up there. I know how much it is. An apartment, straight up, straight out. with a garage, and you need a garage because if it snows, you don't want to have to dig yourself out of out of the snow. Is a minimum of $2,000, if not 2,300, just flat out. That's just off the rip. That's just an apartment. That didn't include the water. That didn't include the actual cable. That doesn't include paying for your own parking space. Hopefully, you got a washer and dryer in your apartment and not a centralized washer and dryer. You're not on the fifth floor and you got to walk 5,000 yards to get to your car. It's just a big mess. So I mean, hey, I'm giving y'all this not from somebody else, but from my own experience in living in diverse areas of what you need. So just want y'all to be aware of that. And if you like what you're hearing, drop a one in the comments. If you like what you've seen today, I mean, it's still more. Don't get me wrong, we're not done yet. The reason why I brought all this up is because of this. All right. So this right here is the estimated median family income for 2021. And I'll decompose this link. She can give you this, and if you're in Slack, I've posted this before. But basically, it comes down to what the median income looks like across the metro cities and non-cities. They have them set here by state and so forth, right? So D can drop this in here. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you to sum this all up right now. When it comes down to the median income for a black family, the median income for a black family is 45,000. That's for a black family is 45,000. Now you take that 45,000 and go live in Fairfax, or you take that 45,000 and go live in New York. You take that 45,000 and go live in California. You tell me how you're gonna figure out. All right. So the jobs are out here. I brought Dennis on because I tell y'all every week, you don't have to listen to me. I'm just gonna give you people and facts where you can go get the information for yourself, right? So you can drop this link in there. Here's the other one that I want to bring up. The medium earnings by age. If you're between 25 and older, you make $842 a week. All other races are making $1,040. If you are a black male, 25 and older, you make 900 a week. If you are a black woman, 25 and older, you make 800 a week. Here's what all the other races are making. Here's what it looks like for us when it comes down to what has happened over the years. This is from 1967, and this went up to 2018. Really after 2018. So we're around about 43,000 was the highest, 41,000 when we're talking about the black household income. Like I said, 45 was kind of was the beginning of that. Now let's look at how we break down what this looks like for us, right? So if you're around 45,000, we're working class. Middle class starts at 50 to 150,000. If you're at the upper 150 to 200,000 and 200 and over, you're in upper class. Now, you go out and get your Linux certifications. You get you some AWS certification or Kubernetes certification, OpenShift. Wrap some security in that. Pick a security track: blue team, red team, orange team, what have you. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. You're probably gonna end up in a job around here, the 150 to 200,000. You may even fall in middle class. There may be somebody that offer like a 140, but generally speaking, you're gonna be in this range here. Why does this matter to you, and why does this matter to me? All right, it matters to me for this here. I pulled this up, the road to zero wealth for the working middle class of African Americans. It is predicted by 2053 that our household income will be zero. All right, so this is why I brought this up. So you can lead with getting your cybersecurity training, Linux training, OpenShift, Kubernetes, Elasticsearch, Splunk. I don't care which one you get. You can lead with that with a mindset of being like, oh, I'll get it when I get it. You can have that mindset, or you can be aggressive about it. But when you're doing this, make sure you bring other people with you. Make sure you're making sure that you are relaying that information back to others, and also make sure that you take the time to train others. You won't know if you don't know until you train others, right? D can drop this link. If you're in our Slack group, it's in the Creating Wealth Slack channel. I keep a post of these weekly of different things. Then I broke down. I said, okay, well, where are we located at in the country? Majority of the black population is in the southeast, right? And then this goes on to break down the population by state and city here. And let me blow this up because it's kind of small on my screen, so I know it's got to be small on your screen. When it comes down to New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, they have a 3.8 million black population, 8% of that area. Atlanta comes in second. Washington, Arlington, Alexandria comes in third. So when you look at this, and if our medium household income right here, I don't have to lie to you right here. It's right here. The medium income for black households is 44,000, and this was as of 2019, right? So we not too far. We didn't gain 100,000 between 2019 and 2021. So if this is where we're at right here, one, two, three, and four, five, six, you can only imagine if we're there and that's our median income. You can only imagine what's going on in our community, and you see it. So there's no need for me to bring that up, right? So I bring you this because I want you to be aggressive about how you move, how you teach others, how you share information. I went one step further with this information. This article right here came out in the New York Times yesterday, maybe on the 27th, I believe it was. Anyway, this article is about how they're working to change that redlining that happened in the black community. Is they're now ripping out the highways. There's a big press to rip out the highways. This actually comes out in the Biden administration for the infrastructure, and they've already started this. And this again ties back into, remember, IoT devices embedded, how cities are laid out and mapped. Where is the money at? Where are people building warehouses? Where people are buying houses? Where people are building new condos? What does that infrastructure look like? This is totally in line with all of this, but they're ripping out these highways that have been driven through black communities. So here is just an overview. They got an aerial overview of major cities and how they changed over time and what it has done to those cities. There's a big study out there that goes on and shows this. D can post this link. You can go more into it if you want to, but I'll probably bring this up again as we go all along in our classes inside of Women in Linux and so forth. But this is just an overview of things that we have in our control to fix, right? Removing the highways, looking at what Biden put out. Not saying that I'm pro Biden, but get the money. The money is out there. We need infrastructure in our communities. We need sidewalks in our communities so we can walk down the sidewalk and not down the street. We need lights. We want cameras. We want all these things. We want groceries. We want all these things. But in order to have some of these things, we also need money. We also need to be working to obtain as much wealth as we can. And it's not just with the jobs. It's also with how you buy your houses and where you're buying your houses at, your rental income, your short-term rental, your long-term rental, putting your cars on Turo or hire.com. I talked about them a couple of weeks ago. These are the things that we want to bring to light. We want you to focus on, make sure you make your money in tech, take your money out of tech, and then put it back into your community. We're only spending 6 hours with our money in our community, right? We're only spending our money stays in our community for 6 hours. That's a problem, right? When we wasn't divided, our money stayed in our community for a year. All right. So I just want to bring this in. Dennis, you got anything you want to add to that? I know I went on my mad rant there, but I just wanted people to be aware of the why and things that are happening around us that we have access to, and how can we who have access take advantage of that access and then share that with others so you all can be on board. We are a community and we need to build.
Yeah, all of that is great, information. For me, investing just as a, growing up as a kid was something I was always interested in and always fascinated with the stock market. And as I told you, I spent about 9 years in Chicago actually investing and managing money. And I can tell you, starting early, being consistent and discipline around savings and investing for the long term is what's going to be the key to us being able to build wealth. Anybody for that matter. But in terms of how do we close that wealth gap, is obviously, hey, $55,000 or $45,000 in median income is low. You still can save. If you can save a dollar saved is a dollar earned. Um, but it's not so much of, hey, what you make is what you keep. And
Mm.
what you keep and grow, you're able to, invest and, make an impact. So it's definitely investing and savings is the key to generating wealth.
Yep. And I posted in our Slack group this morning about this couple that I think one was making 110 and the other one was making $170,000, and they retired with $870,000. But they went through their journey about how they cut off everything and basically lived in a camper to save their money and so forth. You don't have to be that extreme, but what I'm simply saying is when you're looking at how we can build our wealth or attain wealth or keep our money or grow our generational wealth, these are just some of the things that we can be doing. Got any other things that you want to leave the people with? We kind of we're on time. We're on time. We started at 11:30 something.
Hey,
Uh,
I'm just here hanging out. I'm enjoying it. Any questions? Or
yeah.
I like,
Any y'all have any questions for us? Anything else you want us to go over?
yeah.
I think
Any
y'all come out
investment,
friendly.
any investment questions
Yeah,
or
any investment question? Like we got the man on the line today. We giving you nothing but investment questions. Since speaking of investments, let me bring this up because I actually was looking at this morning. Let me pull up my little notes here. So it's all we always do tech stocks and jobs. Let me pull this up right here. So you all can be aware. NVIDIA is doing a stock split. All right. I had to bring in back to my tech stocks, but here we go. They're doing a stock split. It's a 4-1. I mean, it's a 1-4 stock split. Sorry. And they are doing this. Let's see. It says the shareholders additional shares for every shares held as of June 21st. These dividend shares will be distributed after the market closes on July the 19th. So this just a FYI on that. Here,
hey, Tamika?
go ahead.
So NVIDIA is in that semiconductor space. It's one of the companies that I like. I've invested in NVIDIA. Now, not giving it advice, hey, just because I say I invested in it, it might not be something that you're interested in or your risk tolerance. But why did I do that? Couple reasons. One is it's technology is growing fast. Semiconductors, computer chips are in everything. Anything that we're using or consuming that has chips. But if you look at NVIDIA, let's break it down. Here's a company that generated, $5 billion in revenue, and it was 85% more than what they generated, last year. And then also, you look at the sectors that they are in. As you know, the build out to cloud, the migration to cloud, data centers, that's one of their big areas. GPUs, in terms of gaming, is another one of their big areas. Then also AI. I've heard Tamika mention plenty of times about, AI is another of their big areas. And then finally, crypto mining. So they are also tied to crypto in terms of uh, chips. So it's a one of those leaders in the tech industry. As Tamika said, they reported earnings this week, blew away the earnings, and announced a stock split. And if you go back and you look at NVIDIA over the last 10 years, it's just been outstanding in terms of an investment. Now, investing in individual stocks is risky. There's always, you can invest in a mutual fund like a Vanguard, total market index funds that'll give you a share, a piece of the video. You can buy the whole market as opposed to individual stocks. The other thing that I would say, if you see this share price here of $650, they would say, hey, uh, I would rather buy one share. I would rather buy a $10 stock. If I got $1,000, I can buy 100 shares of a $10 stock. I got more shares of stock, and every time it goes up, I make $100. Where one of the things that I learned when I was in the industry, kind of like when you see how the secret sauce is made, you get a chance to go into the kitchen. You realize, as big investors, when you got millions of dollars coming in, you can't go out and buy $10 stocks because you drive the price of the stock up. So you really want to focus on those investment, and those stocks will have institutional sponsorship. So my point is, in most cases, if you have $1,000, if you can only buy one share of a company like NVIDIA stock, you would, in all likelihood, going to do better than buying a $10 stock, because the big investors, they got to buy the most liquid companies. They got more shares outstanding, and they can get in and out of the stock without moving the stock a lot. So just a tip to keep in mind.
Yep. And so I'm going to bring up these other three here that I got on my screen. I took notes of this morning. I'm gonna bring this in right here. So these are my little notes. I got a ton of notes in this document. But you see here, Palantir gained 153% in the last 3 weeks. If you know anything about Palantir, you already know they do government contracting. You already know they're into a lot of different things. You already know what's going on. CLTD, I have to look them up. I have not looked at them. I don't know about them. But they've reached 289%. And I think I think that one was over the last 3 weeks as well. And then Magnite MGNI 466% in the last 7 months, right? So you can look these up to see what's going on with them and what they look like over the past year. If you want to follow along with that. And last but not least, this one here was Zscaler. I was looking at this and I was reading through this, and I was like, again, wrapped around back into cybersecurity and what what they sell and what's going on with them. They've been up. They're talking about here Zscaler business is being accelerated by the digital transformation and the company's moving to Office 365. In addition, the rash high-profile hacks such as the SolarWinds one, the Colonial Pipeline, and Microsoft Exchange are forcing companies to revamp their security architectures, providing Zscaler an opportunity to corner the market. I mentioned CrowdStrike earlier when we're talking about this, and also we should have brought this up, the SaaS model, the SASE model, that I think that was presented at one of the conferences for SANS.org. So when we're talking about cybersecurity and so forth and so on, this is again, look at the stock, look who's doing investments, the chips, the so forth and so on. So you just want to be aware of some of these things. And I think you actually got another question here. Uh,
Okay.
somebody somebody asked, what do you think is a good hedge against inflation?
Oh, that's a good question. So the stock market historically has returned 7 to 9%. So the best hedge against inflation is to invest in the stock market because those returns generated in the stock market is going to outpace inflation. In fact, if you're not, invested in some type of way into the stock market, you actually losing money because of inflation. Now, inflation now has really ticked up because of shortage of commodities, chips. But yeah, good question. The bottom line is this: the stock market is the best hedge against inflation.
Got you. Somebody said, what are some alternative resources to pass the certification exams?
In terms of like, uh,
SANS.org exams.
like what else could you do to supplement your studying?
Mm-hmm.
So hey, there's a number of things. There's webcasts out there that vendor sponsored webcasts. There's webcasts that our instructors do that basically will help you. There's summit events that you can attend. And then the other thing I would recommend is building that base of knowledge before you actually get to SANS. Like for me, even like learning cloud, I took AWS certification. I took a Azure class and got that certification. All those things help to build that knowledge so that when you get to SANS, you are more confident and you can concentrate on more of that deeper learning, which is gonna help you pass the certification.
Right. Somebody asked about, is the chip shortage overvaluing NVIDIA, so that's why they're splitting?
So the answer is, hey, you never know why a company decides to split their stock. And when you're talking about investing in stock prices, you have to think about it in a ebb and flow. In that, hey, it's a collection of people opinions and emotions, and sometimes emotions get high, and that will drive a stock price up. People perceive that, hey, yeah, there's a chip shortage. In this particular case, there is a chip shortage. Why? Because over the years we've outsourced all of our chip and foundry production to Taiwan semiconductors offshore. So now we are not in a position to add capacity. So there is a legitimate chip shortage. Uh, so that can drive the stock price up. One of the reasons why, in the most common reason why uh, companies split their stock is they want to make their stock affordable for the average investor. They want people that are going to hold the stock long term, that can buy it and hold the stock long term. They want to diversify the shareholder base so that they can improve the consistency and decrease the volatility in the stock long term. You have investors out there that are trading for a week or a day or months called momentum investors. They're not looking at the fundamentals. So they're looking for a way to diversify that share base so they won't have so much turnover in the stock. By splitting it 4 for 1, it makes the stock more affordable.
Got you. Now, I answered this. I'm gonna answer it a little bit more thoroughly. Have you heard of individuals negotiating SANS certificates as part of their employment contract? I'm gonna say yes. A lot of people do negotiate, like, hey, and instead of giving me, the sign-on bonus, hey, pay for my certification. I negotiated my. I was in. I was going to. I was working at SAIC, and I was in grad school. And I got another. I was leaving that company, but I wanted to continue my grad school, and I only had like maybe a year left. And that in that year that was left, it was I was going to grad school for free, but in that year that was left, I was switching over to a new company, so that means I had to come out of pocket. So I had to pay $20,000 for the rest of that class, and I was like, I'm not paying for that, so I negotiated that as part of my sign-on bonus for school. So yes, you can negotiate, but I'll let the man himself give you a little bit more information on that.
Well, I do know. I don't know kind of the deep details about it, but I do know some students that come to SANS take a job based on whether or not they have access to SANS training, right? So they want to go to a company or they decide to take a job under the understanding that they'll get to go to SANS training. Now, one of the things that we do see is employers want to make sure that they don't just invest in sending their employees to training and then they get the SANS certification and then they leave. But absolutely, you should ask whether or not they offer SANS training and how many courses that you get to take a year. I've talked to a number of people that has gotten a lot of certifications, and they have always worked at companies that enable them to do one SANS class a year.
Right. And you can see I'm going through just different jobs. I just typed geoc inside of Indeed just to give, a very sweeping overview of like what jobs are out there, what people are looking for, and so forth. So, geoc certified detection analyst, digital forensics, using such tools as Encase or FTK, Celebrite, and Blacklight. So just be aware when you're looking at these job descriptions and so forth. Just get in there and start reading them and going from there. See, was there another question? No, that was all the questions. So it looks like we got all the questions answered. It looks like we're coming up on one. We appreciate your time today. You
Yeah, sure.
and I know for me it's been beneficial, especially walking back through those that came in late. We discussed over on sans .org the training and the training roadmap, how that gets laid out here for the blue team. As you can see, if you just do a drop down menu here, how these things get laid out. When we're talking about red team, starting out with your basics, and you can see here baseline skills, focus on job roles and crucial specialized roles, and how that gets laid out. And then we also got into down here with cloud security and what that's going to look like. And I know you stated that's going to change as well too. Some things are shifting left for that, and I'm assuming there'll probably be more classes. And then we also got into industrial controls when we're talking about those IoT devices, the colonial pipeline, and so forth. So, we want y'all to be aware of that. And then I want to know from a management standpoint, like security management and leadership thing, what SANS had involved with that, because a lot of people are looking for people to lead cybersecurity teams as well too, and as well as how what can you do as a person who's on a cybersecurity team, and you may want to move in, excuse me, you may want to move into management. What could you do to leverage yourself or provide you that upper hand as you try to go forward with that? So what does that look like? It's, as you can see, the CISSP is in the middle. It's not the all to be all, but then when we start planning policy and leadership and vulnerability management and cloud, and just different things to think about, or when we're looking at what your career path could be.
Hey,
See,
and anybody, hey, feel free to reach out and send me an invite on LinkedIn. We can connect there, and if you have any questions or about the work study program, feel free to drop me a message on LinkedIn.
And let me get your LinkedIn right now. Let me drop that in the chat here. Do, 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 do. Here we go. There you go. There's his LinkedIn. Also, don't forget to share this content. If you like what you heard, make sure you share this with those students that are in high school and in college as well. There was a lot of gems being dropped in this talk today. I knew it was going to be jam packed. I was prepared for it. I wanted to make sure that you all at least got the information to understand the why. 500 million jobs that are out there for cybersecurity right now. Black wealth going to zero by 2053. The redlining and what does that look like and what it has done to its communities, and the infrastructure plan from Biden. And go take a look at that. D drop those links in there. Feel free to ask questions. We can continue this conversation in Slack. Dennis, we thank you for your time on this weekend where you could be out there barbecuing and so forth. I know you ready to get out there and do your thing. You may be even going golfing, but whatever you do today, we appreciate you, and we appreciate your time, and we appreciate your mind. I shared your content, your information on LinkedIn. You will be hearing from me. I start my class on the 7th. Uh,
Can't wait.
yeah, man. I've been sitting up here reading. I'm like, ooh, I was going to bed with the book falling on my head
All right.
as I sit there and sleep. But I got my book right here, right beside me,
Okay.
ready to go. So I start my cloud. I start my training, my cloud security. I'm doing the SE 540 class. I pulled it up real quick. I've shared this with people before on this, but let me pull that back up. Let me get out of that. Oh yeah, I gotta click here. All right, that falls under cloud security right here. Here is the 540 when we're talking about monitoring and ops, but you all got rid of the 545, correct?
5:45. Yeah, it's gone away. Yep.
Yeah, 545 is gone away. All right, so here's the 540 class. I'll be taking it. You didn't even mention the summit. You forgot to mention the summit that's
Oh
coming
yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
You
We
gotta do the advertising, man. Let's talk about it.
have. Yeah, yeah. So we got a summit coming up. I think it's what is January, June the 3rd and 4th.
Yep.
It's the Cloud Sec Next Summit.
Yep, I had posted that as well in our thing, but here you go. A little listing of, let me see, speak at a summit about some upcoming summits. Let's go here. Yeah, Cloud SecNext Summit and
Yeah,
training June 3rd through the 12th.
yeah. The
That's coming up.
yeah the summit is the 3rd and the 4th, and then the training starts after that. So
Okay.
2 days are the summit. Yeah.
Okay.
And let's see. Click on that summit one.
This one.
Yeah. And over to the right, there's a summit agenda. Yep.
Frank's gonna be opening up.
Yep, yep. We got a great list of speakers. This summit is free. Right now, we had about 6,500 people signed up, and I would encourage you to register for this summit and drop in on some sessions if you have time. Again, it's 100% free for the summit, 2 days, and then also you can jump in the room and have a conversation with the speaker. There'll be Slack sessions, but yeah, it's a great opportunity to enjoy a SANS event for free. Normally, when we were in person, we were charging for summits, but now all the summits are free, and there's going to be quite a few people hanging out, and you can learn a ton.
Right? Hands on with AWS security best practices. People have been hitting me up. Should I get the Red Hat certification? Should I get the AWS certification? Or should I go learn AI? Look, man, pick a path.
Yeah,
Uh, pick a path and you can go, you could be a journalist, or you can specialize, or you can combine the two. I mean, companies need everybody, right? So it's not just one, it's not just one thing. Just because you know AWS don't mean you don't need to know security. Just because you know security doesn't mean you don't need to know Linux, right? It's just it just
Right.
they're all one. As Dion like to say, they're all cousins.
Mhm. Right. Well, thanks for having me. I'm happy to come back anytime. Like I say, anytime you want to invite me, anytime you have any questions, hey, I'm here. Looking forward to continuing this relationship and giving people opportunities in cybersecurity. So just honored to be here, and thanks.
You're welcome, and they say thank you inside of the chat as well too. We're gonna
Okay.
get out of here. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you all next week on. Or actually, we'll see y'all at 2 o'clock for us. With with our 10 minutes ago with Vladimir Vivian, where we teach Go training. So we'll be back at 2. He's gonna be off next week, but we'll be back here today at 2. So see you again in an hour for those that hung out all this time with us. But I think you got good info. So we'll see y'all next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. He hung up.